All right, 6.3, last work for this week. Remember that your quiz actually goes up today, if you're in my 2021 class at least. Our new step for solving will include multiplication problems today. Let's take a look at our math skills first though. 5 and 2. 2 cannot go into 5, so you look at the second multiple of 5 because it's bigger, which is 10, and 2 does go into 10, which means 10 is my common denominator. You would have to multiply 5 by 2 to make it 10, so multiply the top by 2. You would have to multiply 2 by 5 to make it 10, so multiply the top by 5. In the end, add the tops. 8 and 5 make 13 over 10, which is your answer, and that is all. Getting to your multiplication, remember the key thing here is remembering that you have to actually carry on your multiplication. So 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 8 is 8. Bring down a 0. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 makes 25. After that, add your columns. 5 and 0 make 5, 8 and 5 make 13, carry the 1. 1 and 5 make 6, 2 comes down. Remember, you do not need to worry about that 1. Just put your 85, your 25, 50, and your 26, 35 in your answer, and you should be okay. Again, you need to be contacting me if there are issues, because this is not something I'm supposed to be teaching, but it's something I want to make sure you have at least understood. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 7 is 7. Bring down your 0. 4 times 4 is 16, so write the 6 and carry the 1. 4 times 7, 28, plus 1 makes 29. Add your columns. 4 and 0 make 4, 7 and 6 make 13, carry the 1. 1 and 9 make 10, carry the 1. 2 and 1 make 3. You do not need any one of those two ones. You just need 74, 29, 60, and 30, 34 for your answers. With the colors again, make sure you remember that if the colors are different, you ask yourself who won by how much. Looks to me like white won by what, 7? And when the colors are the same, your question is how much did that team score altogether? Looks to me like black scored 14. You should be getting used to this now. Hopefully, if not, like I said, let me know on any of that stuff so I can help get you on track. Today we look at one-step multiplication problems. Before we get to that, let's make sure you try to remember solving involves your ability to see the small differences in each type of problem. So consider the following older problems now. Can you identify the value that needs to be moved? So I'm going to pause for a second, take a glance, and see if you can identify what needs to be moved. Hopefully you can see this would be the 5. Hopefully you can see this would be the negative 13. And hopefully here you can see it would be the positive 6. Remember again, we would subtract 5 from both sides here, add 13 to both sides here, and subtract 6 from both sides there. You should notice that our target value is on the same side as the variable. Nothing changes with multiplication. Keep the same initial focus on identifying the value. Look at the problems and try to figure out what needs to be moved. Again, I'll pause just for a brief second for you to try to see what should be moved. Looking at all 3 problems, of course. Hopefully you can see the 18 should be going. Hopefully on the second one you can see that 19 is with X and should be leaving. And hopefully on the third you can see that 15 is with X and should be leaving. Our logic is still the same. When you solve, there's not really a shift in what we are trying to do. Your focus should be on how we are trying to do it. We are still trying to get the variable by itself, which means that whoever is with the X or the variable has to be removed. The question is, how do we move it? So, how do we move a number that's being added? That means a plus 5 or a plus 6 or a plus 10. The way we do that is by subtracting 5 or subtracting 6 or subtracting 10. Because that equals 0, and that equals 0. How do you move a number that's being subtracted? In other words, a negative 4 or a negative 10 or a negative 15. Well, the answer is you would add 4 or add 10 or add 15 because they're opposites and they equal 0. So these have been covered, and you probably mastered each one, at least gotten used to it at least. Notice our answers are opposite operations, so addition and subtraction are opposite. When you were adding a number, you subtracted. When you were subtracting a number, you added. Our job today is a new situation, but again, I know you can do it. How do you move a number that's being multiplied? Well, the question is, what is the opposite of multiplication? You divide. So if you don't know that, write it down so you know it, because again, that's all you need for your notes. The tough part of teaching is not that we're not in class for you to work. Because you're working on computers and because a lot of you have a very independent idea, I want you to focus on showing step steps. Our paper examples will be slightly different than our computer examples. But how do you show steps on paper? I'll show you very briefly before we go to our computer work so that when you get to class next year, you'll understand what they're doing. The 16 is with y and must be moved. That means it's multiplied 16 times y. So we need to divide. And on paper, you would put divided by 16 because that means divide. You'd put divided by 16 here. 16s would cancel, y would come down, and whatever 112 divided by 16 is would be my answer, which is 7. So y would come down with 7. Same situation over here. 168 equals 21n. That is 21 times n, which means to move the 21, I would divide by 21. That's times 8. That's times 8. So that would be 8 equals, and again, that goes away, equaling n. If you recall, again, the fraction line is used to show division. Unfortunately, MathXL does not allow an easy method of showing division this way. So just know you'll have to use the actual division sign when showing your work on MathXL. Again, on paper, this is how you would do it. Though you can do it like you're doing on MathXL, but on paper, you're going to see it shown with the division part. So let's look at 2 new examples from your work today before you go on to the homework and get started. So again, the same questions as before. What value is with m? Well, m is with 17. How do you move the 17 if it's being multiplied? You actually have to put divided by 17 and divided by 17. That is the MathXL difference. M comes down with whatever 17 or 153 divided by 17 is, which is 9. That's all. That's the only difference, is that you have to put a division symbol and that you're dividing because it's being multiplied. Consider the following equation. What value is with k? Well, k is on the right, and it's on the right with 13. So how do I move the 13 if it's 13 times k? I divide by 13. I divide by 13. I believe that's 9, but we'll see. 117 divided by 13 is 9 once again. So that turns into 9. 13s go away, and k comes down. So before closing again, I want to make a quick note to students who are using alternative methods to answer these questions. Again, the phones and the internet to get your answers. You might be able to get away with it right now, but you're honestly missing out on your best chance to learn how to do it. The biggest thing people complain about is that no one ever taught me, no one ever cared. I have cared. I've shown that I've cared. I've slowed down. I've taught you in ways that actually work. If you do not use this, I can't guarantee you'll get a teacher that'll actually teach it next year, but, you know, that's on you. But again, using those methods might get you through this. It actually will get you through this, but you won't be able to really learn it, which means at some point you're going to see them again, and they'll be more complex. And at some point, you're going to have to figure it out. I would say do your best to keep your integrity in this course so you can actually understand the material, because the whole point of this class is to just pretty much get you to try and understand, you know, that you can do it and that you'll be ready for your algebra class next year. There is no need for you to cheat yourself out of the pride knowing that you conquered this, and I know that you have what it takes to make it. The homework has all the questions that'll be on the quiz tomorrow. Again, contact me with issues. Don't forget to show me your work. Outside of that, good luck and have a good weekend.